Bonjour mes amis, and bienvenue once again to Full Marks French with Behram at Aviv. This time we are doing le passé récent, the recent past, which is exactly the opposite of, you guessed it, le futur proche, the near future. Once again, let's borrow the number line and make it our timeline. So we have the present, we have the past, and we have the future. In the present, for example, I write or I am writing. In the future, I will write or I shall write. In the past, I wrote. But what if I want to denote an action that says, I have just written? Because when I say I wrote, it could be 2 hours back, 2 days back, 2 weeks back, 2 months ago, or maybe 2 years ago. So, very simple. If I want to denote an action that has just happened, like I have just written a letter, or I just wrote a letter, in that case, I am going to use, yes, you guessed it, the recent past. An action that has taken place in the recent past. In French, le passé récent. As always, adjective placed after the noun in French. So, we can say le passé récent denotes actions that have just taken place within the last few hours. Fantastic. Now, we know this, so let's go for the formation of the passé récent. And we know that in the futur proche, we have used the verb aller. I'm going to write, je vais écrire. So in the passé récent, should not we use exactly the opposite, because this tense is exactly the opposite? So what is the opposite verb of aller? You guessed it right, the opposite verb of aller is venir. So let's take the present tense conjugation of venir. Do you know it, guys? Yes. Je viens, tu viens, il vient, elle vient, nous venons, vous venez, ils viennent, elles viennent. Once again, V-I-E-N-S, V-I-E-N-S, V-I-E-N-T, V-I-E-N-T, V-E-N-O-N-S, V-E-N-E-Z, V-I-E-N-N-E-N-T, V-I-E-N-N-E-N-T. But if I just say, je viens écrire or je viens parler, will not that be I'm coming to write, or I come to write, or I come to speak? So, that's why instead of immediately adding the infinitive, we add a de, D-E, de. So I can now differentiate between je viens parler and je viens de parler. You guessed it. And after that, we add the infinitive, which is the verb from er, ir, re. So, let's take an example here. If I want to say that Caroline has just watched a movie, I will say Caroline vient de voir. Caroline is going to watch, Caroline va voir. But Caroline has just watched, Caroline vient de voir a film. Right? So, we now know the formation subject plus the present tense conjugation of venir plus de plus infinitive. We are ready with that? Yes, absolutely. So now let's take an example. The verb parler, always our favorite example to speak. Right? Subject plus the present tense conjugation of the verb venir plus infinitive. So here we go. Je viens plus infinitive? No. Yes, there is going to be a de in between. Je viens, tu viens, il vient, elle vient, nous venons, vous venez, ils viennent, elles viennent. And now let's add the de. Before the infinitive, we need to add the de. So de. And finally, parler, 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 parler. So when I say je viens de parler, I mean I have just spoken. Right? When I say tu viens de parler, you have just spoken. Il vient de parler, he has just spoken. Elle vient de parler, she has just spoken. And so on. Now, before we move on to anything else, how do we make a negative? Very simple. Yes, you are right. Ne plus the conjugated verb plus pa. So, Je ne viens pas de parler. Obviously, je ne viens pas de parler. I have just not spoken. Doesn't make sense. That's what I've said here. But suppose you are asked in the exam as a conjugation, you should know je ne viens pas de parler, tu ne viens pas de parler, il ne vient pas de parler, elle ne vient pas de parler, nous ne venons pas de parler, vous ne venez pas de parler, ils ne viennent pas de parler, elles ne viennent pas de parler. Awesome! Finally, do we all know how to make any verb in the interrogative? Very simple. You just invert the conjugative verb and the subject pronoun. De parler, nothing will change. So, je viens becomes viens je. Don't forget the hyphen. Don't forget the question mark. Viens je de parler. Have I just spoken? Viens tu de parler. Have you just spoken? Vient-il de parler? Has he just spoken? Vient-elle de parler? Has she just spoken? Venons-nous de parler? Have we just spoken? Venez-vous de parler? Have you just spoken? Vient-il de parler? Note the pronunciation. Vient-il de parler? Have they just spoken? Vient-elle de parler? Have they feminine just spoken? Never forget the hyphen. Never forget the question mark. And with that, we are champions in the Passé Récent. Au revoir.